I think for a long time there has been very little representation of African American experience in the arts, and specifically in mainstream arts. And places like the Griot give us a place to go that is about African American history and African American culture, African American experience. It's by and for African Americans. And so there's a sense of ownership there. There's a sense of ownership of culture, ownership of experience that you don't necessarily get everywhere else. But unfortunately, what happens with places like the Griots is that they are not necessarily as well supported as mainstream institutions. So they tend to be sort of marginalized when it comes to funding. They tend to be marginalized when it comes to the kind of attention that's given to them. And that's incredibly, it's incredibly sad, because what they do, the service that they provide, is a really important one to really strengthening and creating more of a unified sense of what is going on in the African American experience and the African American community. And it also allows for a story to be told that wouldn't necessarily be told in other kinds of institutions.
Well, I've always been a little involved with the museum because I see a need for our history, our stories to be told. I mean, if we don't tell them, who's going to tell them? This is the only place that you can come in St. Louis that I know of and look at local people, whether it's Reverend Nance, who marched with Martin Luther King, whether it's Miles Davis, or Percy Green, who climbed the arch because he wanted more participation in the work that was going on at the arch, and because he's the guy that filed a suit that gave us all the ability to file a discrimination suit against an employer. It's Green versus McDonnell Douglas.
You see, if you don't know what had occurred in the past, then you're subject to duplicate the same, whatever fallacies that took place in the fact. But those people that can preserve the past, you can look and then begin to start analyzing what if so-and-so knew this at the time, or if they lacked that at the time, as to how much difference it would have made. I've always praised Lois for for that museum, and that was long before I was considered as being one of the figures there. But the one that is so impressive to me, and it does something to your psyche, is the one when you first come into the door, that about the slaves, that portion of the ship. I mean, just walking through there, I mean, it gives you that aura about what it must have been like to be part of being a member of that cast, to being a member of that group of people.